Welcome to the Rise Above Show with Patricia Jo Grover, where we rise above our challenges and turn believers into achievers. I just want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, 133 Approved Funding. They've been around helping businesses keep their doors open and keep people employed through the global pandemic, but now they're there allowing financing. They have financing for people who are trying to get new businesses started and off the ground, as well as they do consumer financing, which helps people to be able to get packages maybe that I or Dr. Wendy here have available for people. So if anybody'd like more information, you can reach out to me. And with me today, again, I have Dr. Wendy Labatt. And let me tell you, she is going to be speaking on the Rise Above Summit coming up in October in the financial dimension of life. She actually will be the first speaker on Friday, October 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So happy to have you with me, Dr. Wendy. So let's tell people a little bit about you. You're known as the financial healer, and you're an award-winning entrepreneur, a global streaming TV producer, a 4-time #1 best-selling author, a business strategist, and international speaker. You have your Doctor of Business Administration and Entrepreneurship, and you've had it for almost 4 decades of experience that you have as an entrepreneur yourself. You're the CEO of Financial Cures LLC and the creator of the Financial Cures System, which is a results-based program in financial mastery. So this is so interesting, Dr. Wendy. So happy to have you with us.
Thank you, Patty. I'm happy to be here. I'm so excited about the summit as well.
You know, it is. With all 8 dimensions of life that we're representing, we have people such as yourself that are tops in their industry here helping and sharing information on topics to help people move forward from where they are to where they want to be. Because me as a goal achievement strategist, that's what I help people do. But I know I can't serve in as deeply as you can in the industry that you're in.
Yeah, everybody talks about, physical health and mental health, but nobody's talking about financial health. So that's where I come in. I'm the financial healer, and I try to, focus on financial health because people conflate and confuse financial literacy with financial health. But you could be financially literate and still have poor and even fatal financial health. So people need to understand the difference, and they need to understand how to improve their financial health, just like they do their physical or mental health.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes. And I work with clients on the importance of creating budgets, but not just for their finances, but for their time and energy, and it all ties together. It really does. So, Wendy, tell me a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey to become known as the financial healer.
Well, as you stated in my bio, it started almost 4 decades ago. I said, wow, 4 decades. I guess I was only 2 back then. And I started an office equipment company with no experience in business. I was new to the area and I had very limited resources. And this was a time where there was no internet or social media. And the only thing you can do with a cell phone was make an expensive phone call. So I pursued to do business with corporate America and government agencies. But in order to be able to be considered for the big contracts, you had to project a certain image. And that meant having a brick and mortar office, employees, carry inventory, and all the overhead that goes with it. And I was able to do that at first. But eventually, I was suffering from anorexic cash flow because my cash flow didn't match the image that I had to project. And it didn't match the contracts and the level of businesses that I was getting. So I was forced to, kind of think outside the box and take control of my finances. And I had to negotiate with my clients because, I was a rookie business person. So my terms with them was supposed to be net 10. but they were paying me, in 30, 60, sometimes even 90 days. And I really couldn't afford to finance the business I was doing with them. So, I ended up, like you say, putting on the big girl panties and I made the appointments with them to discuss the situation because I let them know, look, I'm a small business. I'm, trying to get things going. You all have given me the business and I appreciate it, but I need you to pay me on time. And fortunately, they understood. So they ended up paying me on time and sometimes even before time. So after, kind of going through that challenge, I ended up, approaching my vendors because I needed to have more competitive pricing. I need to have better terms with them because their terms were net 10. So I said, okay, I need to get better terms. I need to get, more competitive pricing or group or not group, but quantity pricing so that I can be competitive and I can make some money to stay in business. And this was a time also when, being a female and minority owned business was a benefit to bigger companies because, a lot of the government contracts and corporate contracts require that they have a certain percentage that they're doing with, minority and female businesses. So my vendors weren't minority or female. So of course they saw the benefit. So it was a mutually beneficial relationship for all of us. And that kind of helped me with my negotiation skills and really made me, the savvy businesswoman I am today. Not trying to brag. I'm just saying.
Right. But that's great. And actually, so I go back to Dr. Wendy, you saying about how I mentioned about putting your big girl panties on and getting to work. And it is for you, part of being an entrepreneur and growing your skills in that was having to do that. You had to create your boundaries of what you would accept for payment terms from your people, and not, yes, you cared about wanting to serve them, but you had to do what was best for you. And that was that boundary. You had to set those payment terms.
Yeah, and they weren't really trying to, neglect them. But, corporate America, they got their systems and everything's programmed. So, they're just they weren't even really aware until I brought it to their attention. But then, once I did, they, fixed, there was no problem. Matter of fact, I think they respected me more for putting those big girl panties on and coming
exactly.
to them.
And
So
standing,
I'm like,
right. And standing for what was
what
right
I
for
needed
you.
to do. Yeah. And, and matter of fact, the level of business grew. But anyway, eventually I got out of that business and I started serving consumers with the tax preparation business. And in 2014, the Affordable Care Act mandated that everybody have health insurance. So I expanded my business to include health insurance and financial services, and not just health insurance, but insurance and financial services. So I didn't want to be a hypocrite. So I bought all the products and services that I was selling my clients because they were asking, well, what do you have? Where's your money? And I can honestly say, what I had and where my money was. So in 2017, I was diagnosed with an aggressive form of breast cancer. And I chose the aggressive form of treatment because I was going to conquer this disease. But that aggressive form of treatment meant chemotherapy treatments every 3 weeks for a year, and at a price tag of $67,000 every 3 weeks for those chemotherapy infusions. And, I wrote a book and my editor said, calculate that out, and I was thinking already 67,000 every 3 weeks is astronomical. But when I calculated it out, it came to a little over $1.1 million. And I'm like, good Lord, I'm still shivering when I think about that. But fortunately, because I did practice what I preach, my health insurance paid all that, those medical expenses. But in addition to the chemotherapy, I had 5 surgeries, all the CAT scans, MRIs, ultrasounds, everything that you can imagine that you had to have to conquer the disease. And that totaled over $300,000. So if you add those two together, it was almost $1.5 million worth of medical bills to beat this disease. So my insurance paid all that. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. Practicing what you preach pays off. And then I also had some supplemental coverage that I didn't even look at first because, you're dealing with the disease and trying to get your health right. But I ended up having sub coverage that brought me multiple six-figure financial tax-free shots in the arm. I call them financial vaccinations that allowed me to focus on my recovery and not worry about money. And it really was, a blessing. And I was like, okay, Lord, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, and I'm in my comfort zone. I'm good. And he was like, no, I took you through this journey for a reason. I brought you out better than when you went in. So you need to go on a crusade to empower other people to be in a better position to prevent them from being, financially ruined from, injury, illness, or even lack of knowledge. So I'm just like, okay. That's why the financial cures, that's how I came into existence. So that's what I'm doing. I'm on my crusade, empowering other people to, take control of their finances and build financial legacies. So I'm excited about it. It's going really well.
Oh, that is such a story, Wendy, and it really does. It should make those connections for people. The importance of walking your talk, and when you are selling such products as that, to be a consumer yourself, so that you can advocate the importance of it. So you've done
Yeah.
all that.
Because I
Okay.
had a colleague that, after a meeting, we were talking, this is before I got diagnosed, and he was saying, well, Wendy, I just came from having a physical and I've been diagnosed with kidney cancer. And I'm like, kidney cancer? I'm sorry to hear that. And I had never really heard of anybody having kidney cancer. And I said, wow, I'm going to pray for you. But then I jokingly said, but I know you're going to clock some dollars. And he said, no, he said, I said, all this stuff, I know you got some of this coverage and stuff we're selling. He said, I don't have any of that. I'm like, what? You're in the business and you don't have the coverage, you don't have, he had minimal health insurance, the minimum you needed to meet the mandate. And that was it. It's like, boy, to myself, being a hypocrite, you see how it comes back on you. And I don't know how he's doing now, but
Right.
I just sympathize with him because I know, that's a battle. And after going through it myself, I really sympathize because not just him, but others that don't have the coverage, that don't make it a priority. They'll insure their house, their car, their cell phones, jewelry, but they don't want to, properly protect their health, their life, or their finances. So it's important that people understand to make that a priority.
Exactly. And having people such as yourself, Dr. Wendy, who make it so it's not so mind bending. You make it so that everybody can understand the terms in which you're sharing, and it's not all this fancy language that confuses people.
And it's not as expensive as people think, especially with the CARES Act. I mean, I've gotten people zero premiums. That's not everybody or not even the majority, but I've got the most of my people are getting, excellent health insurance for under $50, so take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. They've got products where you can protect yourself, up to, $500,000, depending on your age and health for, less than what you spend eating out. So it's that kind of thing that people, like I said, they need to prioritize. They need to redirect some of the funds that they're spending on wants and things
Right.
that they don't need to, take care of the things that they do need. And that's what my program helps them do.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so, Dr. Wendy, can you explain for people what differentiates financial literacy and financial health?
Okay, well, financial literacy is basically knowing what to do, and financial health is the results of whether or not you do it. It's just like you need to eat healthy and exercise, but if you don't do it, you end up with high blood pressure, obesity, all kind of diabetes, all other kind of diseases. So the difference is financial literacy is knowing it, and financial health is whether or not you do it, the results of what you, or the measure of you doing it. So that's the difference. And that's why I like to, and really that's how the financial health correlation or, relationship with finances and health came about because people understand health. They understand about, eating right and all that. Whether they do it or not is another thing. So that's why I try to do with the finances to teach them, about the basic principles, compound interest and debt and expenses and knowing the difference and, distinguishing needs from wants and, really getting the mindset right. Because if your mindset isn't right, I don't care what you're trying to do, whether it's manage your money or lose weight, beat an addiction or whatever, you got to have the right mindset, but you still have to know something. You don't have to have a doctorate degree, but you still have to know some basics.
Right, right. So, Dr. Wendy, what are some of the obstacles that people face with their finances?
Well, the first one, and it's a very important one, is the mindset and knowledge deficiency. Because, like I said, you have to think right. And I just coined a new slogan. If you think right, speak right, and do right, things will flow right to optimize your financial health. So you have to think right and you have to know something, and you don't have to know everything, but you have to know what it takes to get to where you're trying to go. So that's one of the major obstacles because, you can't have a rich man's desire for wealth and have a poor man's mentality. So you have to align those two things. So that's the key. And then the next thing is taking control over your finances. I teach my clients to plan where their money goes instead of wondering where it went. And people that have more money tend to wonder where it went more often than people that are, living in, limited financial resources. So that's important. And then the next thing is proper protection. My story is a perfect example of that because I could have been ruined, financially. My mindset is right. I know some things and, I have control over my finances. But if I didn't have that proper protection, I would have taken a big hit financially trying to meet those medical bills, which would have added more stress and, mental stress and physical stress. So that's a key thing. And it can be something that, like I said, in my case, it gave me or made me money and gave me something to work with. And then the next thing are tax codes and tax laws. Like I mentioned, the money I got, it was significant, but it was tax free. That if I would have had to pay taxes on that, it would have taken a big chunk out of the money. But because it was tax free, then, I was able to use it for whatever purposes I needed and didn't have to pay taxes on it. And then people, when they're doing those retirement investments, they think 401k, IRA, 403b is, a retirement fund, which is a vehicle, but it's a tax code. The tax code and the laws dictate how that money is invested, how it's put in and how it's taken out. People say, okay, I'm, contributing to 401k. It's, tax-free money. It's pre-tax money. And that's the seed is pre-tax. So you plant that seed, but when you pull out from that harvest, that's taxable. So I don't know about you and farmers, they want to pay, money taxes, I guess, more on the seed than on the harvest because the harvest is going to be exponentially more than the seed. So, you have to know those kind of things. And then the next thing is the global economic impact. We're in a pandemic, and not only is it affecting us, physically with the health and the virus, but it's also impacting the economics of, the world because people can't work, things are getting shut down. So that's another, obstacle. And the final obstacle is just as important as the first one, which is taking action because people can know everything and do something, not even do something, but they'll know everything and hope and wish and dreams. But faith without works is dead. So if you don't take action, and that doesn't mean just doing it one time, it means consistently doing things, monitoring it, and then making the adjustments that you need to make along the way. So those are the obstacles that, people are facing.
Yes, and everybody is. This is global. This isn't just in one neck of the woods or anything, and it doesn't matter what economic background you come from. This is affecting everyone. So,
That's
Dr.
true.
Wendy, tell us more about your projects that you're working on, and because you have books, you have your streaming show, Financial Cures with Dr. Wendy. So, tell us a little bit more.
Well, I am proud to say I just became best-selling number one new release of my second book of the Financial Cures system, the Financial Cures series, which is Optimize Your Financial Health. Is available on Amazon. I'm so excited because we had our campaign, and there were 12 authors. We all got together and, we broke a Guinness World Book of Records to become published authors and best-selling authors on the same day. It's never been done before. So at first I was kind of sweating it when I saw my numbers. It's like that, the first day, I'm like, okay, when I first published, I said, okay, I'm here. And then the next, few hours I was dropping. I'm like, oh Lord, what's going on? But then by the end of the day, I was number one new release in the business strategy section. And I was like, okay, all right now. So I was really relieved. So that's book number 2 of the Financial Cures series. And then I have my show, Financial Cures with Dr. Wendy, coming up in the winter, because we're going, I guess the fall, I'm not sure. We're October 21st, we're having our reveal. Now, I'm not sure when it's going to actually launch. I'll, keep you all posted on that, but I'm so excited about it because the first season, we've got, faith, focus, and financial health to help you, understand how that all comes together for you. Then we have proper protection to prevent financial ruin, which, like I said, my story is an example of that. Then we talk about, did you fill your money prescription, which talks about all the money that's out there, whether it be grants or, other resources available for businesses and individuals. And then the importance of the 501c3 nonprofits, because people think nonprofit, or they'll set up a company saying it's a nonprofit, but they don't understand there's a difference if it's a 501c3, and then the process, you got the short form, long form, that kind of stuff. And then the next episode is talking about, do you need occupational therapy? And it's a gentleman that has a training and employment service, because the CARES Act infrastructure, they're talking about all these new technologies, clean air, clean energy, and people need to be retrained for those kind of positions. So he has those opportunities available, and we talk about that. And then the next thing is awesome. I mean, they are awesome, but this one is, what's your credit diagnosis? And everybody has issues with credit. Not saying that you have bad credit, but some people don't understand credit is used for everything, whether you're getting car insurance, life insurance, renting an apartment, getting utilities, whatever. People are checking, they check your credit. So this gentleman is an expert in showing you how to get a 700 credit score, 700 plus, and maintaining it. He talks about how the whole credit system works. And then we wrap it up with, are you sowing seeds into the lives of others to reap a bountiful harvest? And we have a lady that's the executive director of a board that I serve on, an organization I serve on the board. And we provide, shelter for the homeless. And it's a big, it's an issue, especially now that people are having, financial issues. So it's going to be a pretty, awesome season. So tune in. It's going to be on Zandra TV Network. You can go to ZandraTV.com to see the trailer. And, October 21st, mark your calendar. It's going to be our reveal day. So I'm so excited.
Awesome. Awesome. So congratulations on all those wonderful things, Dr. Wendy. So how can people reach out to you? Do you have any gifts for our viewers and listeners today?
Well, I have a gift. If you want to get my guide, The Six Obstacles to, it's called Winning the Money Game, but it's really optimize your financial health. You can text the word guide, GUIDE, to 770 sorry, 770-796-4944. That's 770-796-4944. Or you can also go to my website, thefinancialcures.com. That's probably the easiest way because you can get everything there. So I hope that you'll, visit my website. I appreciate being on the show, and I hope, this information has been helpful.
Wonderful, Dr. Wendy. And again, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, 133 Approved Funding. And again, if you want more information about them, you can reach out to me and I will share information below. But for anybody who'd like to find out more about me, you can go to patriciajogrover.com. And I have gifts for everyone. If you want to text the word GOAL, GOAL, to 26786 if you're in the continental US. But if you're outside the continental US, if you want to and send it to 1-866-926-4020, we'll have stuff go right to your inbox. We have a little video following up. And again, thank you for being with us, and we'll see you next time.